Many people are seeking the key to weight control. If you haven't watched my video, Why Diets Don't Work, please watch that first. In that video, I mentioned that the key to weight control is controlling energy intake, performing physical activity, and changing your behaviors. These three are very interrelated. It's really the key to either weight loss, weight gain, or maintenance. Once you lose the weight, to maintain it, you have to control your behaviors, right? And those behaviors are going to factor in how much energy you intake and how much physical activity you perform. So really the key is behavior changes. We're going to be talking about behavior modification to help you with weight loss or maintenance or gaining weight. We're going to modify problem eating behaviors using either chain breaking, stimulus control, cognitive restructuring, contingency management, and self-monitoring. Let's start by first identifying some behavior changes you may need to make, or some behavior things that may lead to poor eating. One is your environment. It's important to surround yourself with foods that are healthy. If you like Tostitos and you see those in your cupboard, you're likely to eat them. So we'll talk about what you can do so that Tostitos are not so tempting. Meal timing. How do you know when you should be eating and when you should be stopping? And your meal timing actually has a lot to do with how many calories you consume. So we'll talk a little bit about those behavior changes. Food choices, of course, make a difference. Reading labels can help you choose foods while you're in the grocery store or when you're in a restaurant. Now they provide often calorie counts for individuals. And overall, just making informed choices is important. Portion sizes are always critical. If you go to the average restaurant, the portion size may be double or triple what you should be consuming. So managing portion sizes is a key behavior change. And physical activity is needed for weight loss to occur. This is my son when he was about 8 months old, and I had to change my behavior of previous workouts to accommodate him. So let's talk about these behavior modifications, and we'll start with chain breaking. Chain breaking is breaking the link between two behaviors. Links can lead to excessive intake. For instance, snacking while watching TV is a no-no. Ideally, you should not be eating TV. You should not be watching TV while you're eating. Why? Because while you're watching TV, you're not paying attention to your food. You're not eating mindfully, and you may overconsume calories, or at least not enjoy the calories that you're consuming. Especially if you're sitting down with a bag of chips. The bag of chips may be gone by the end of the TV show, when in reality you may have been satisfied with a much smaller portion. So there are things that can often begin a behavior, and we need to break that chain. So finishing a dinner and then sitting on the couch, you kind of watch a TV show, you might feel bored, you go to the kitchen, you open the refrigerator, you eat cheesecake, you feel guilty and you want more cheesecake, and on and on and on. So how you can break this chain could be several different ways. Maybe instead of when you feel bored, you go to the kitchen, you feel bored, you turn off the TV and do some exercise. Or another point that you might want to break the chain is when you open the refrigerator, instead of eating cheesecake, have a healthy snack ready. So chain breaking can deal with your environment, finding something else to do while you're watching TV instead of eating. It could also have a list of things to do, so when you're bored, you can do those activities instead of eating. Often people don't know what to do. They kind of go towards what they're used to. And food choices. You could maybe only have fruits available after your meals. If you have a bowl of fruit ready, you might eat that instead of an unhealthy snack. And prepare a satisfying snack after your meal so that you know what you're going to be eating instead of just eating something that's not going to satisfy you. And these are some ways to implement chain breaking. Let's talk more about stimulus control. Stimulus control is altering the environment to minimize the stimuli for eating. I use this pantry because there's something in there that I think might be too easy for you to consume. And those are down below. You may see those pre-packaged snack bars. Those are very easy to grab and eat. at making it very little work for you to consume food. I think having those within reach might not be the best solution. If you change your stimulus, it puts you in control of your temptations. I'm not one to think that we can't be tempted by things. Instead, we have to take away the temptations. So change your environment. Keep temptations out of the house. If you love ice cream, have ice cream out of the house instead of saving a bunch of it in your refrigerator where it's there waiting for you or calling your name, eat me, right? No candy on your desk or you're going to eat it, right? It's hard to resist a temptation that is there. Instead, take it away. And portion sizes. This is something that is harder to start, but once you change your portion size in your mind, it will really help. You can serve yourself on a plate of food and not keep the additional foods around. So for instance, when you sit down to dinner, instead of having the foods on the table where you can continually take serving after serving, keep those foods in the kitchen and you have to go back with your plate. Going back may act as a stop or a stop to stimulus to not eat. You can have single serving containers when you go to lunch so that you don't take the whole bag of chips. Take something small so that you don't overconsume calories. Keep fruits on the table in front of you as a stimulus to eat those instead of other items like prepackaged snacks. And those are some ways you can help with your stimulus control. Again, take away your temptations. It's not realistic to say that you're never going to eat fast food. Let's take that away. But order the size that you should eat, right? Instead of a Big Mac and a large order of fries and apple pie and a large Coke, get a regular burger, a small fries and a small Coke. You'll be saving yourself, that's right, over 1,000 calories. It's those small changes that can lead to sustained weight loss and maintenance. So instead of giving up everything that you love, eat a smaller portion of it. Now let's talk about cognitive restructuring, which is changing your frame of mind regarding eating. You can eat mindfully. In my live lecture, we do a mindful eating exercise where you consume a piece of chocolate slowly. And you savor the chocolate. You smell it before you eat it. While you're eating it, you eat it slowly and move it around in your mouth so that you can really enjoy the texture of the chocolate. When you do that, you have a more satisfying food intake experience. You can eat the foods that you love and enjoy them instead of scarfing them down and not enjoying the pleasure, thus consuming less calories. Also, social events don't have to be food events. I know that this is a hard one for many cultures, but it is true that if you make every food event a social event or a social event a food event, you may have a hard time controlling your intake. It's very hard to eat mindfully while you're talking. Portion size. You could eat on a smaller plate, right? Instead of thinking you need a huge plate of food, eat it on a smaller plate and pile the smaller plate full of food so that it looks a little better than a big plate with tiny little portions. For physical activity, instead of thinking when I'm bored, I'm going to go on the computer, think free time is for exercise. So anytime that you're feeling bored, you can go on a walk or enjoy a change in your environment. We live in California, so we're fortunate to have many wonderful days to go outside, even in the rain. Volume eating increases satiety. So eating fewer calories doesn't have to mean eating less food. As you can see from these two plates, they actually have the same amount of calories. One looks bigger than the other because one's been bulked up with fruits and vegetables. Vegetables are low in calorie and high in fiber, thus providing more satiety in your stomach. So if you eat more foods that increase your satiety, that will help you feel more satisfied and not make you feel hungry after you've consumed a meal. Contingency management is one of my favorites. It's forming a plan of action in response to a situation. I think of it as an if-then situation. I like emergency management, so it makes sense. I'm always testing my children about if this happens, then what would you do? So for food, if you go to the movies and you want popcorn, then eat before so you don't feel tempted to buy the popcorn. If you go to a party, then you could eat before you go so that you don't eat so much at the party. If you feel stressed, then go for a walk instead of thinking stress is related to food. And again, these situations might not fit you, but find ones that do. Our environment can actually have a contingency management plan. If you make a grocery list each week and shop by it, then you're having those foods available in the home. Often people get into trouble when they've noticed there isn't any healthy food in the house. Well, if we had planned ahead, then those foods would be available when we're hungry. Meal timing could be part of our contingency management plan. It's important to bring food with you sometimes so that you don't get too hungry and are forced to eat out. This is maybe true for snacks and maybe true for other meals as well. So start thinking about how you can change your meal timing and how you can plan for that if-then scenario. In terms of physical activity, you could schedule a consistent time for exercise, and then you won't be able to say that you can't do it. Carry extra clothes with you so that you always have clothes available for exercise and you don't have to go home, which may make you want to lie on the couch instead of get up and exercise. And our last behavior technique is self-monitoring. That's tracking your behaviors. And I don't think that you should track your behaviors all the time, but as you found out from the Diet Project, it might be useful to track them every now and again. To log your foods or record your exercise, maybe track your weight, get a friend to help so that you can have someone there that can drive you in the right direction. It helps you understand your eating habits and lets you know how to make adjustments. So self-monitoring is important as long as we're not doing it every moment of the day. We want to not be Bridget Jones from the Bridget Jones Diary movie where she's tracking everything every moment, but we want to be able to use this as a way to put ourselves back into check. Sometimes it makes you feel better about yourself by knowing, you know what, I did quite a bit of exercise, or I did quite a bit of healthy eating. So think of it as putting you on a positive track, not always on a negative track. So again, these controlling energy intake, performing physical activities has a lot to do with controlling problem behaviors. As you can see, this woman drinking soda and eating while driving, doing too many things at once. She should be mindfully eating and preparing food in advance instead of being always worried about the drive-through. Those are some things that can really help with energy balance. Overall, there's something called the weight loss registry, where people have lost weight and kept it off. And when they did a survey of these individuals, they all had similar strategies for achieving and maintaining a healthy body weight. They used similar techniques to the ones I've just mentioned. They also employed these strategies. They set attainable goals. Don't think of, I need to lose 50 pounds. Think about losing 10. 10 is a much more attainable goal, and you will make a successful change and then feel the need to reassess if you want to go further. Plan for new behaviors, meaning you can't just say, I want to eat breakfast, but you might actually have to plan to have those breakfast foods in the house. That involves changing your environment. So plan for your new behaviors. Self-monitor. Every now and again, sit down and think, did I plan for my behaviors? How am I reaching my goal? You don't want to weigh yourself necessarily daily, but maybe once a week to see, am I on the right track? Maybe I haven't lost any, but I also haven't gained any. Those are positive things that you can do to help yourself along. And gain social support. This might be the most important of all. Weight Watchers uses this strategy to help people support one another, and I think you should find someone that can support you in your goal. Not to critique you, but to truly support you by going out and exercising with you, or in asking a friend, hey, instead of going to coffee each week, can we go for a walk? Or if we're going to go for coffee, how about we do it at a place where we're only drinking coffee and not eating, donuts and other things. Use your friends, and if they aren't helpful, you might want to get some new ones. I hope you enjoyed this behavior change video.